we're here with Dr. Shyam again. Now, we'd like to talk about the research and science behind the gut microbiome, for instance. But first, let's talk about what inspired you to get into health research, and was there anything that, led to this realization?
I think there's. I mean, if I can understand, if I understood your question correctly, what is my motivation, right, to get into into this domain of science and science of wellness? So in 2006, I started having my workout sessions. Right, that was an eye opener for me to see what I can do with my body. Right, so one of my trainer at that time, Joe, he was 55. And he showed me, and at the age of 55, his muscular strength was incredible. So for me, that was inspiration. Then, of course, I looked at my dad. Within my family itself, they are all very health conscious. So for me, that was those were all the drivers from the personal story perspective. But my background, of course, in the various sciences, made me understand the importance of health and nutrition.
What made you want to start studying science and in terms of nutrition and all that, what made you decide to focus on that as your niche?
It was mainly because I realized that pharmaceutical drugs can do only so much, right? It's a curative. So, but before you end up in that stage, what can you do to prevent, right? Are there any possibilities for us to prevent? And that is when I started researching on science, researching on various components of nutrients. I realized, oh my God, these are really serious molecules, and we take it, say, vitamin C. We take it like anything, right? But at the same time, the impact of vitamin C on the molecular level is mind blowing. The vitamin D, it goes into your nucleus, and binds to your DNA and changes the expression of genes. I mean, how can you imagine? I mean, the impact of the small, simple molecules, we take it for granted, and how it can impact our. So those are all motivations for me to say, hey, this is something I should really investigate further.
Right. Now, if you can remember, what was the first health product that you researched? What health issue was this product aiming to solve?
So one of the first health product I researched was a product which consists of multivitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. And this was called Triple X in Japan. And this product was meant for general health. At that time, again, I want to understand, when you consume this, what happens to your body? What happens to your blood cells? What happens to the immune cells?
On a molecular level.
At a molecular level,
yeah.
Right? And then what I did, I took the blood of in a clinical trial, right? Of course, this was an amazing clinical trial. Then I did the gene expression study of the blood level of the blood, and I found out some significant changes that are happening post consumption of the nutrients over a period of 4 weeks and 8 weeks. And I found out that and I cannot tell you some of those things, but really mind blowing to see. Wow, this is how it can.
And that's a really short time. I mean,
yes, within 8 weeks. I mean, within 4 weeks starts changing.
Yeah.
But the 8th week you saw the significant changes. Right, so we still, that was the first product which I worked on, which I'm really proud. And that, I must say, that was a pivot for me. Say, this is serious science.
Yeah. Now, was that, or was there another that was the most interesting discovery you made in your research?
So the other interesting discovery which happened probably 2 years ago, which we launched, was again a multivitamin tablet, which was bilayer. So 2 layers. So 2 layers of the multivitamin. One layer was supposed will break instantly in your stomach. The second layer,
time release,
right? Second layer will slowly release over a period of time. Why? Because along our intestine, the transporters of these vitamins are spread throughout at different sites. So sites of absorption are there, but also you don't want to. It's like you can't, in a car. You have the car's capacity is 4 people. You can't have 10 people trying to sit in the car, right?
Yeah.
So you need to let the people wait. So if in a time release situation, the people are waiting, and the first car takes the people, bring them back, and the next set of people, passengers, go. So that is the advantage of time release. So we have time release built into a bilayer tablet. So that I would say, that was one of my best innovative product. But I must say, all these things came with huge teamwork. Multiple scientists from different fields came in there's a teamwork. It's not me alone, right? It's a teamwork which really made it happen.
I think that's important because a lot of people don't realize, in terms of optimum nutrient absorption, you need that sort of slow release. Yeah.
Correct.
Now, what is the relationship between the gut microbiome and healthy weight management?
Yeah, it is a pretty complex relationship. There are a multitude of studies coming out saying that alteration of the gut microbiome is perhaps one of the single most important contributor. Forget the genetics. Genetics has been ruled out as perhaps 3% of the reason why somebody is obese is because of genetics. But I would say gut microbiome plays a major role from increased nutrient absorption, extracting more calories from the food, from really having some specialized microbiome bacteria called Akkermansia. And there are many things which are driving the gut microbiome health and they all drive the weight management, right? So feed your gut with the great food, with great fiber, with the great probiotics, it can have an impact on your weight.
Now, how important would you say are lifestyle changes and behavioral habits when you're considering the role of a product in like gut and health? In gut health and weight management.
I would say behavioral changes is perhaps after gut health, behavioral changes becomes the most important aspect, and they are interlinked. Because you have a great behavior changes in terms of moderation of your food, in terms of diversity of a diet, diversity of fibers, it automatically impacts the gut, right? So they are interlinked. But behavioral change is very important. In fact, one of the programs I ran was on behavioral change combined with protein, fiber, a mix of nutrients. So that is one of the so behavioral component makes a major role. In fact. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it emphasizes the discipline behind this, right?
Discipline behind it, and the thinking behind it. For example, a simple thing like breathing, chewing. If we take it for granted, but these are all mechanisms which support our gut health. Then the diet-induced thermogenesis. So, like when you consume protein, it requires more energy to really break down the protein, right? So these are there are many components which comes in to really drive the healthy weight.
Can you elaborate how breathing and chewing, for example, affects your gut health?
Great. Let me talk about the breathing.
Yeah.
So breathing, it activates certain what's called PSNS, parasympathetic nervous system, right? So breathing to stomach. So you expand your belly and bring it down. It relaxes your body. It keeps you calm. It relieves the stress, and that alleviates your pressure to eat. Right? When you're in a stressful situation, people tend to eat more, right? You open the refrigerator, you take a snack in front of you, right? So, but breathing, first relaxing your body, right? And the PSNS is a very powerful phenomenon, which I practice, right? When I'm stressed out, first thing is to do, close your eyes, you open your tummy and you bring it back. And that automatically relaxes you because it activates the nervous system, a different part of nervous system, which keeps you, under control. Yeah. Right? Then your cravings and things goes down.
Yeah. So it's like you're stressed, and you take a moment, and you're like, "It's okay. I don't need cake now. I'm all right."
Correct. Yeah. Right. And it's not a forceful situation because you're relaxing. Your body's relaxed. Your body's not immediately looking for a reward. Because I'm stressed, I need reward. But you are not looking for a reward because the reward mechanism is being dammed down by this PSNS system.
Okay. And the chewing, that's...
Chewing.
Is it enzymes
we tend to gulp food.
And that's true. Yeah.
We tend to gulp food because we are busy. Right? So all the amylases in your salivary amylases, it doesn't have a job. Because it cannot even see the food before it goes inside, right? So it needs some time to chew, break down the food into the appropriate particle size before it can enter, right? Yeah. And chewing is also, it's a psychological impact because you're chewing, you're enjoying the food, and you feel satiated because it approximately in 20 minutes time you are satiated, right? So you need to take some time, relax and chew the food. and then so that you feel a little better after that.
Okay. All right. Now, there's a lot of conflicting advice out there regarding diet and weight loss. So how do we sift through all the noise? How do we know what's truly effective?
I think everybody needs to experiment, right? In fact, the other day I heard somebody saying, we all have to be scientists. You don't have to have the title of a scientist, but we all have to be scientists. And I see that, when we are, I see my daughters experimenting, and we all have the experimental mind, and we do experiment in different ways. We are all scientists actually, but we don't realize we underestimate. All of us underestimate ourselves, right? People who are in a different field, in art, literature, we are all scientists in many things, right? Because we do experiment to see if does it work or not, right? That's all.
You should go with that natural curiosity.
Natural curiosity, right? So exactly, and why am I putting on weight? Right? Why am I eating so much? Is it because I really like it, or is it because food is in abundance? Right? Can I? So those are questions we need to ask. So there's no one advice, but I would say us to really understand ourselves better. First step.
In our company, we've heard a lot of success stories, in terms of changing your health for the better. But what was your favorite story that you've heard, or one that you've seen for yourself?
I think one of the stories I heard from one of the customers is about somebody having a serious issue, and but how the protein, the soy protein, helped the person recover so fast. So it was post surgery, right? How the person was able to walk better, was able to be ambulatory, right? Post surgery. And so the recovery portion really helped a lot. So for me, that was again another insight as to how the protein works in our body, right? To build the muscle, increase the strength, all those things. So that is one of the stories which I really liked.
What common mistakes do you see people make when they're starting out their health journey, when they're first starting, and what advice would you give them?
The health journey, going after fats, going after fat diets, so those are the things we need to avoid, right? There are for example, if you follow the Mediterranean diet or a diet or with the intermittent fasting, those are all well proven science. But in fact, I remember one of my close relatives, she was on cabbage soup diet, and these are things we need to avoid. These are all quick fixes, but it's never a fix. It's unhealthy because you are not getting the nutrition. You are depriving your body of nutrition,
right.
And also that you are, there are other aspects which I cannot discuss today on how these kinds of diet really overloads your body with good things, but overloading anything with good things is also bad for your body.
Right? There's only so much you can absorb at a time, right?
Correct.
And the rest just puts pressure on your kidneys.
And put pressures on different parts of your body.
Yeah.
Right? So exactly. So that's why we need to be very cognizant about staying away from fat diets. Go work with your trainer, nutritionist, or well-known companies who really is believing in health and wellness, right? Health and well-being as a primary motive, right? And look at what they say and follow them.
The proven science.
The proven science is what you need to follow.
Okay. All right. Now, we know that weight management is more than just physical health. It's also a mental and emotional journey. And from your point of view, how do you integrate that psychological well-being into it?
Yeah, so as I was saying, the behavioral component is the main thing. Yeah. So that takes into account the mental health journey and your resilience of it becomes a major part, right? Because every day when we go through the motion of calorie control, for example, there are moments or days when you want to cheat, as you were saying, cheat days, right? So there are moments, so forgiving yourself, right? Not being so harsh on ourselves. Oh, it's not going to change overnight. Your weight is not going to change if you eat one piece of chocolate today, tomorrow. So it won't change, right? So don't be so harsh on yourself. Accept it. This is, and then enjoy it, right? But then move on, right? So mentally, you need to be accepting of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not just about weight, right? It's not about how we look good in the mirror. It's not that. It is also about how we are fit, how we are energetic, how we are able to run after the kids or grandkids, right? That is what it's about. That is healthy weight. It's not about losing weight alone. Okay, great. If you can lose weight, fantastic. But that's only one part of this equation. The other part of the equation is how well do you feel? Are you cheerful? Are you happy?
Yeah.
Or are you grouchy because you're losing so much weight? You are being not very happy, and
You're not chewing and you're not enjoying.
You're not
it.
chewing. You're not enjoying. You're not breathing. You're not. You're doing the things you should be having. Having a glass of water, a glass of water every day. Are you doing all those things? So that is, I would say,
Yeah.
that's how we want to
It's
think about
not just healing your body, but healing your heart and your
healing
mind.
your heart, healing exactly, healing your soul, healing, feeling at peace with your society, with your community, with your family, right? And you will lose weight, and if that is part of your goal. But importantly, you will maintain or grow your health.
Okay. Now, how has the gut health industry evolved over years? Where do you see it in the next 5 to 10 years?
Gut health is still evolving.
Yeah.
A lot of science still coming up. I mean, I'm like shocked at the kind of research and the new microbes not even mapped. How do we understand? There are trillions of microbes, and each microbe has their own story. How do you even try to dissect the story, right? Today, what we are doing, I would say we are doing maybe 20% of what we know. Still, there are 80% remaining, right? But gut health is going to be the main driver of our health, and therefore the research has to be there in the gut health. And it's fascinating. Every news story is coming out. In fact, yesterday only I was reading this wonderful story about, a science-based experiment in which they saw the vagal nerve getting stimulated by a bacteria, and how it immediately opens up a portion of a region which controls the inflammation. All the way from the gut to the brain, the one portion of the body, the brain getting activated, right? So for me, if that bacteria can do it, think about the gut bacteria. If you have good gut bacteria, it can also do the same thing, activate. So when their body is systemic inflammation, it can just calm it down.
Yeah.
Right? So that is how brain becomes brain-gut axis, huge stories. These are coming out.
I mean, it's huge because when you think about inflammation and how it controls so many other...
It impacts so many other organs, right? So the best way is to really maintain a great gut health with some simple fibers, great plant-based proteins, great, I would say, nutrients, vitamins, minerals, diversity of plants, diversity of fibers. That's how it's going to sustain.
And then your body does the rest.
Then body does the rest, exactly.
All right. Now, what are your thoughts on the role of nutraceuticals and traditional medicine in today's health landscape? And what does the future hold for these fields?
We always have to respect the traditional medicine. Right. It comes with a lot of wisdom. I would say, you look at the TCM, the idea of chi, right? I mean, they were already thinking about the intestinal hyperpermeability, right, where the intestine becomes more permeable to toxic substances. Right? They were already talking about chi at that time, right? Think about the enormous wisdom our ancestors have given us, right? Similarly, in the science of Ayurveda, right, building in the idea of the gut is really the driver of many diseases. Hippocrates from the Western medicine, right? They still talk about the gut being the primary driver of ill health or health. So all these things. So traditional medicine is going to play a major role, and it's more acceptable to a lot of people. And the science, although it may not have a lot of science, but what we are discovering now is science was always there.
Yes.
We just did not know how to probe well, right? Now with the modern sciences like genomics, we are able to probe and understand, wow, it is.
This was why it works.
Why it works, right? So, but having said that, now, how do we translate that into nutraceutical situation? How do we translate into, hey, how can we merge them together and make it more palatable, right? Of course, some of the traditional medicines are not, you cannot eat it that well, right? I mean, some are really bitter, right? So we need to convert them into modern forms, which is much more palatable for people, right? So I see the synergy, lot of opportunities there, bringing the traditional wisdom and the modern science, and I think it makes a lot of sense to really deep dive.
Is that what you're excited about for the coming years?
Absolutely. I'm very excited about that.
Could tell. Okay. Thank you so much for being with us here today. That's that's our show. Thanks so much.
Thank you very
Good
much.
to have you.
Have a good day.